Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So with Sunderland not having a game this midweek, I thought it'd be a good time, with only 11, 12 games left for a lot of teams in League One. I thought it'd be a good time to reflect and discuss who I believe, again it's all my opinion, who I believe has been our best player this season, or player of the season, should I say. Now, what I've done is I've put 5 players together, and in this video, I'm going to go from 5th to 1st. I haven't written anything down in terms of a script. I'm just going to ramble away. So this video could be 5 minutes long, or it could be 50 minutes long. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm just going to ramble about these 5 players in order and give you a reason as to why I believe they are where they are in my top 5, and talk about them a little bit. Then, of course, in the comments down below, you can let me know who your player of the season so far has been. Again, it could change at the end of the season because, like I say, there's 11, 12, 13 games for some teams left of the season. So, again, if you're excited for the video, hit the like button for me. I very rarely ask it. I do it at the end of the videos, but at the beginning I never really ask. But if you're enjoying the content on the channel, and it's been very heavily Sunderland-based, of course, now I've kind of given into the fact that this is 100% a Sunderland fan channel now. It isn't really a gaming channel, is it? I've got another gaming channel, though, if you are interested. Jamsarny Gaming, but enough of the plug-in. Like the video, and subscribe if you're new. Now, like I say, there are 5 players to get through, and the only player that's sort of stuck is my number 1, who I believe has been player of the season so far. The other 4 have been rotating like crazy over the last sort of half an hour since I've been sorting this video out. But my number 5, I've settled on Dion Sanderson. Now, Dion Sanderson, you might think should be a lot higher, but just hear me out, and then when you start to hear the rest of my players, you might agree with me, you might not, whatever, like the video. But Dion Sanderson, he came in January on loan. It was barely used at all. Arguably, he should have been used because I don't think we realised what a gem we were sitting on. Even when we had the likes of, Willis out and Bailey Wright out, we're still going with like Conor McLaughlin and players like that in centre back, and we're using Flanagan and McLaughlin, and we were completely ignoring this gem that we had in Dion Sanderson. And only when we were really forced into using him did we realise what a very, very good player he is, and what a class player he is as well. Obviously, he's coming on loan from Wolves. He's recently had in an interview, or said in an interview, that he wants to rejoin Wolves, and his aim is to play for his boyhood club, which is Wolves, which, I have all respect for that. But as of right now, he's completely focused on getting Sunderland up to the Championship, which, again, I absolutely respect. He has a contract that runs up till 2022, I believe, with Wolves. Of course, I'd love to have him on loan again if we do go up this season, or if Wolves aren't interested in signing him again. This lad wants to play Premier League football. In a few years' time, you never know. We could be there, but I would love to see him come back to the stage of my life, because he has been absolutely phenomenal. And at a time, more so, because we have no fit centre-backs, and we haven't had any fit centre-backs for the best part of 2 months. So he's been in there, young lad, only 21, and he's had to boss and configure and be a leader at the back, as a back 3 or a back 4, or at times a back 5. And he's absolutely bossed it. He's been phenomenal. He's been the reason for so many clean sheets, along with other defenders, of course. I can't just solely give it to Dion Sanderson, but the young lad has been, he's been way past his years in centre back. Like I say, his leadership ability, the way he controls the back line, pushes forward, pushes back. He's great in the ball, great in the air. He's just an all-round leader, and he stands out and sticks out like a sore thumb for me. A brilliant, brilliant defender, and I can't put enough praise on his head because he has been that good. Now, my number 4, which may surprise a few people, but it shouldn't, and I'll explain why in a second. So, my number 4 is Grant Leadbitter. Grant Leadbitter, for me, I think the first half of the season, yes, it was with Parky, and it wasn't going particularly well, but Grant Leadbitter was claiming man of the match after man of the match after man of the match awards, and rightly so, because he was bossing the midfield. Granted, all the results weren't going our way under Parky, but I feel like a lot of fans have forgot about what happened before Lee Johnson, which I know, granted, results-wise and where we were in the league, yeah, it's probably best to forget it, but things still happened. Grant Leadbitter was absolutely incredible. He was bossing the midfield, and I think people seem to think that our season started when Lee Johnson came in. I think in terms of results, like I say, yes, it may have done. But Grant has been absolutely incredible. He's scored some important goals. Penalties, a lot of them granted, but he's still granted. See what I did there with Grant Leadbitter? Whatever, it's not funny. But there were so many games, even when Parky was here, where I think we would have lost if it wasn't for Grant Leadbitter with last-ditch challenges. Again, goals, his distribution and his control of the midfield has been impeccable. But now I think, since Lee Johnson come, and so many other players have started to really push into their own and started to grab the headlines with goals and assists and performances and defending, Dion Sanderson and other players as well, attackers and stuff. It kind of fell into the shadows a little bit. And, granted, he hasn't been absolutely man of the match performance-esque every time he plays, but that doesn't mean we can completely erase everything that happened before Lee Johnson come. And, he played in the final, the Papa John's final with, well, we say he was fit to play, but I know full well, a dislocated shoulder. He'd only been out for a couple of weeks with it, or however long it was. That wasn't fully healed. Even if he was on injections or whatever, he would have been in agony. A shoulder barge on that, he would have been a broken man, Ledbetter, and he put in a decent display, or a decent enough display at Wembley. And, being a Sunderland lad, Sunderland through and through to lift a trophy, he's in my top 5, hands down. Don't care what anyone says. I really don't. He's had a very, very good season, considering that when he first come, everyone was saying, he just passes it backwards, that's all he does. And I think they had a point with his first season for us, because he didn't really offer too much, and I didn't see the point in bringing him in. But this season, he's been a completely different player. There's been times where he has been head and shoulders above the rest. And again, we can't forget that. Just because other players have been maybe better or have been grabbing the headlines in recent weeks or last couple of months, we can't just forget what Ledbetter has done for the rest of the season. You can't do that. That's highly unfair. So, so Ledbetter is my number 4. Now, my number 3 and my number 2 have been rotating like crazy. But I'm going to go with Luke O'Nien. As you guys know, I absolutely adore the man. But the amount of positions this lad is adding to his arsenal is absolutely ridiculous, particularly in recent weeks or the last couple of months or so, where he's been playing centre-back. This lad come to us as a centre midfielder and who can play more of a forward centre midfielder. He gets forward. Well, that's exactly what the sort of description we got of him when he came over. I think he played 1 or 2 games in midfield, and he quickly went to right back. He become our best right back, ahead of the likes of Conor McLaughlin and Adam Matthews originally. When he was here, he was getting in front of everyone at right back. It just shows his versatility. He become our first choice right back for the last season or 2, and now he's become one of our best centre backs, just behind Dion Sanderson, who's naturally a centre back. You know what I mean? I would prefer Luke O'Nien as centre back in front of the likes of Flanagan and players like that, which is crazy to say. It just shows how willing he is, how dedicated he is to the club anyway, and his performances, they've been absolutely incredible. Yet in the last game, people have said, "Oh no, he's not." Now they play the card of, "Oh, he's never a defender. He's a midfielder. That's why he made one little mistake." He's made one mistake out of so many games where he's been given 9 or 10 out of 10 performances at centre back, which again isn't his position, and I can't explain that enough or promote that point enough. So he makes one mistake, and now people are saying, "Oh, he's out of position. He shouldn't be there." Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. He's been absolutely incredible, Luke O'Nien, at centre back, and any position you put him in, I'd be happy with him between the sticks. I think he'd still do a job. Maybe not an incredible job, but I think he'd still do a job. I think he's that good, and I just love his commitment. I love his commitment, how dedicated he is to the cause, how he's bought in to Sunderland, and he would be happy anywhere on the pitch, and he would do a job. He'd give you a 7 out of 10 performance anywhere on the pitch, and that's why he's in my top 5 and number 3 as well on this list of my players of the season. Now to my number 2, and it is none other than Haydn McGeady. Now you could probably argue that he shouldn't be on this list because he's only sort of played the second half of the season, or only since Lee Johnson come in, but there's a bigger aspect to this. Haydn McGeady didn't play for the best part of a year almost, and for me, he got brushed aside, treated horribly by Phil Parkhurst, in my opinion. For someone who is of that calibre of player and that skill, technical ability, and just the quality that he has, to be brushed aside the way he was, to go train with the kids, mentally, that must have been absolutely soul-destroying for the lad. Yeah, he put him out on loan to Charlton, which I don't know how much he enjoyed that. Through podcasts that I've watched him on, he didn't seem like he massively enjoyed it, didn't really want to be there. He wanted to play for Sunderland. Phil Parkinson just wasn't having any of it for one reason or another. We don't know the full story, but for me, I'm sticking with McGeady. I think he's a professional. He's no way, in any way, in my opinion, a bully, like some reports did come out saying. People were saying that he was bullying kids. If it was true, of course, and I absolutely back that, then that he shouldn't have been in the side. But I don't believe that was the case, 100%. I think Park had an issue where McGeady, yes, he does have not a mouth on him, but he's opinionated, he's a professional, he's driven, he's passionate, he wants to win. So I think there was probably times in the dressing room where McGeady might have laid into players a little bit, and he has done that, and he's admitted to doing that. I have no issue with that at all. If everyone's just all nice and nice in the dressing room, regardless of the scoreline, then what's the point? I don't want a bunch of wet wipes in the dressing room. I want players in there fighting for the cause, angry at players that make mistakes, and try and amp everyone up. And that's what McGeady's like. But I think Parky's just old school, bit of a dinosaur, and he wanted to be the man in the limelight and the only one making the decisions. And he wanted, in my opinion, again, I can only imagine this, I'm only speculating, but I think Parky just wanted his voice to be the only voice in the dressing room, and he didn't like the case that, and he didn't like the fact that McGeady was in there as well. But for him to come out from that, and regardless of your quality or your ability or your technical ability and your class, he was out for so long. And yes, you can keep yourself fit, you can keep your stamina good, but match sharpness and match fitness, they're all completely different things. So for him to come back and play in the manner he has done is nothing short of a miracle. And I'm not even overplaying this, because this man hadn't played first team football a full 90 minutes for like the best part of a year, and he'd been playing with the under 21s or under 23s. And for him to come in, he's played 20 games, 11 assists with 4 goals is incredible. He's currently the second highest assist, or got that second highest assist in League One. George Honeyman, former Sunderland man, he's got 12 assists, and that's after 35 appearances, I believe. Whereas McGeady, he's made 20 appearances and got 11. That's remarkable. And to strike up the partnership he had done with Charlie Wyke as well, it's amazing to see. And someone of his age, with no disrespect, he's 34, 35 now, to come back after that long gap, to come back in and play the way he has done, that's remarkable. And it could have easily scraped Player of the Season for me, just because he's had to go through that physical and mental battle of feeling unwanted and treated so badly and so poorly, then to come in with the attitude and play the way he has done and in the manner he has done is my number 2. So now on to my number 1, and it is none other than Sir Charles Wyke. He's been absolutely incredible this season. And if you think the Haydn McGeady story was a big redemption, a big comeback story, then this is just as good. If not, it tops it, because of how poor, and this isn't me, just having a bit of a dig, but he was very, very poor in his opening couple of seasons. His first season, he scored, 5 goals in 30-plus appearances. Second season, I think it was 6 or 5 or 6 again. It wasn't good. To be the main striker, the key striker for a side that's supposed to be going for automatic promotion or just promotion in general, that isn't good enough. Regardless of what kind of striker you are, hold-up striker or a target man, you need to be better than that. And he was very, very poor. And I still get messages to this day, because Charlie Wyke is doing so well now. I get people saying, "Oh, you're an idiot after what you said in the past." I don't take it back at all. He was shit. He was poor. And when I'm doing my match reviews and I'm doing my videos, I take isolated performances into consideration. If Charlie Wyke plays 90 minutes and he misses a couple of sitters and he can't control the ball to save his life, I'm going to say that in my match review. Just because 2 years later he's bagging goals for fun, it doesn't mean that he played well then. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. So I stand by what I said in the past, which is why he's my number 1 now, because he's been so unbelievably good this season, scoring 27 goals in all competitions, 22 goals in the league. It's absolutely incredible, and I just feel like his comeback story has been incredible. I mean, he could have easily been sold off last summer, easily, and I wouldn't have bat an eyelid. I wouldn't have complained, because I think he was up there with Will Grigg. He was missing sitters. The only thing that was, I think, holding him here is play away from scoring goals, was keeping him just a little bit, even though it wasn't great. He had that sort of hold-up ability every now and then where he thought, okay, maybe we have got a player here. I think that was the only thing that was scraping him into the side. He added that tiny bit more than Will Grigg, but now he's got his confidence going. I think with everything going on with the pandemic, he said himself he'd been trying new things in training, and he had a lot of time to himself, and he can see now he's finding those little pockets of space in the box, and he's making those more intelligent movements, whereas one of my sort of main gripes with Wyke was sort of hiding behind defenders and not really going for the ball and making his own judgments in the box when crosses are coming in. He was almost looking for a defender to hide behind a lot of the time, whereas now he's making his own judgments, he's making brilliant runs into the box, he's finding those gaps, and he's a goal scorer, and he's an absolute goal machine this season, and he has not put a foot wrong, the lad. If you put a half-decent ball in, I am so unbelievably confident that Charlie Wyke's going to get on the end of it. And that is just testament to his character and his mental ability as well. I've mentioned that a couple of times in this video, because it is a hard thing, particularly if, Charlie Wyke, he will be very much aware of people slating him, and footballers in general, slagging him off, on social media when they're not playing well. Even if they don't have a Twitter or an Instagram, or, they won't be able to get away from it. If you're not playing well, it's going to come down hard on you. So for him to come back after 2 seasons of pretty poor displays, to come back and play the way he has done, score the amount of goals he has done, he's en route to scoring 30 goals for us this season, which is insane, absolutely insane. So fair play to Charlie Wyke. He's been amazing this season. Long may it continue. Hopefully he continues to bag for the rest of the season. So that is my top 5. You may or may not disagree with me, but again, let me know in the comments down below. So we have Dion Sanderson, we have Grant Libitter, we have Luke O'Nien, we have Aidan McGeady, and first and foremost, it is Mr. Chaz. Big Chaz, Charlie White, my number 1. Again, let me know in the comments what you think down below. Hit the like button if you have enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. But for now, you take care and stay jamming.